Sands of Time, yes,
like
indeed.
that.
The
I like
Deadly
that.
Hour,
That's
I know.
cool.
Yeah, well, shit. All right, well, thank you so much for coming,
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Roger. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Busy,
Busy?
but yeah, Death on the Radio's getting back in the studio. Probably, I guess, the 6th and the 9th.
Oh, really?
Like.
Of November?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So we just did 7 tracks,
Yeah.
and
With Suicide Kings?
yeah, with Suicide
Yeah,
Kings
so
with
you're going
Ian.
back with them?
Yeah, yeah, we're going back there.
Ian Down, that's right.
Yeah, Ian Down.
Yeah.
And we're going to. I think he's got all of the masters done.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
For the 7 songs, but
Yeah.
we've got a bunch of tracks that we did. I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago with Mary Powers,
Yeah.
and
I remember her.
we did them at. We were the last band in Downtown Sound before Philco had to close the doors. So we
Okay.
did it with Philco Raves. There
know.
at
I don't
Downtown
know him.
Sound. Yeah, that's
Okay.
cool. He's done a lot of old punk stuff. He's
Okay.
been around forever.
Gotcha.
One of those guys that's been around
Yeah.
forever.
Didn't Mike V also produce you guys? So when was that?
Mike
what was
V
that area?
produced. That was the same era, basically, right before we went in and recorded.
Okay.
He produced the single that we had put out, which was "Pleasure and Pain" and "Life on the Line." I think it was.
Pleasure and Pain. All right.
Yeah, so we had done that, but so we're going to take those tracks because musically those tracks are perfect.
Yeah.
And we never did anything with them. I mean, a little bit of a kind of a EP, but never any formal release or anything.
Right.
So we're gonna take those tracks and fly Maxine in
Oh,
to
okay.
replace Mary.
Yeah.
And then we had a bunch of tracks that we did with Grayson Ray at this little rehearsal studio that we used to rent. We shared a space with who did we share space with? No. Oh, anyway, God, I'm
Where was this
sorry
at?
for whoever that was. I don't even remember the name of the rehearsal
the place?
studio. It
Oh,
was
okay.
a little nondescript place.
Gotcha.
North Hollywood Sound or something. You know,
Oh, okay.
something
Yeah, one of those
generic like
places.
that.
Yeah.
But it was a cool place. But we did a bunch of tracks also when Nick LaMagna was playing bass for us. So we're going to take Lee and fly him in and Maxine in on 1 or 2 of those songs too. So it's piecework kind of.
What do you mean by
stuff.
fly him in?
Well,
Or
we're gonna record. So Lee's gonna record a bass. We'll
Okay.
pull, and in the mix we'll mix his bass in instead of.
Oh,
Mix,
I see.
yeah.
Okay. I thought like they were in New York or something. You're
Oh,
like,
no,
I'm gonna
no.
fly him in.
Flying in tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay. I'm not in with the lingo, man. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's all
I'm
right.
an old studio
No,
rat,
no.
so you know.
I'm like the worst musician. People tell me like, "Oh, I got this MPEG 316." I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I just know the volume, goes to 10, and that's it. That's about as far as I go. I mean, I know chords and
Right,
stuff.
yeah.
I like learned that though after playing guitar.
Right,
but
right.
Yeah. Well, shit, man. I wanted to talk about. All right, so that's what's currently going on.
Yeah, that's currently going on. And Order Disorder is we're working on cover art right now.
Okay.
So we just also with Ian.
Yeah.
We just finished. I think it's 10 tracks. Is it 10 tracks, Candy? Yeah.
Damn.
10 tracks. So we're gonna release that.
Does Ian produce it too, or is
Well,
he
he does he puts his producer hat on.
Okay.
I would say that the bands are self-producing.
I see. Okay. That's
Both
cool.
bands are very much so, all hands on. Like, we're gonna go into the studio and record vocals for Maxine.
Yeah.
All of us are gonna want to be there. We all
I
have, we
see.
all
Yeah,
produce
yeah,
it.
yeah.
We all look at it, come
Gotcha.
up with an idea. Oh, try this, try that.
Yeah.
So we're very hands on in
okay.
that. So Ian has a production credit because he did some really cool stuff and put his
Right.
producer hat on.
But
he's not actually producing.
Do you guys ever get? I mean, I'm sure. Like, what do the arguments look like when you're all trying to produce? I mean, is that, or does it actually go okay? Or
No, it usually goes okay. Usually, what has happened in the past, and we're all getting better at it because, like I don't know how much recording experience Maxine had when we went in and did these tracks, and Danny's recording experience is all punk rock.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, no
Put
metronome.
put two mics over the drum kick, mic the guitar, mic the bass.
Yeah.
Put the vocalist in the corner.
Right, yeah.
Play the song. Boom, boom, boom. There, we got a record.
Yeah,
Boom, go. So he didn't have great concepts on production.
I see.
And I come from studio work since the mid '80s.
Yeah.
So I come from old
we'll
school.
talk about, but yeah.
Yeah, old school 2-inch tape where
Right.
the mix was a dance.
Oh.
We had 4 guys on the board.
Oh shit.
You know, and you've got tape marks in this, and your job is to bring this cymbal up, and then here at that point, and then go back, and then okay, this comes down to here, and everybody's got their section of the board, and and that's how we did those big. You had to have hands to turn the board, so that was fun.
Right.
So I have all of that studio knowledge, and so there were a couple times in both bands where you would butt heads with someone because they, I think, didn't understand what you were trying to tell them.
Yeah.
You know?
Because they're just like, just put the.
Yeah. No. I need to be
there.
louder.
Right.
No. You need more presence. We need to EQ you differently.
Right.
No, and you need to be able to hear it. EQ isn't gonna. No, trust me. The EQ will help.
Yeah.
Arguments like that. More like, okay, let me explain what I'm talking about here, and do me a favor. Give it a try. Yeah. Listen to it. If you don't like it, we can go back to the way it was.
Okay, that's good. No, see, for Twisted Black Soul, we had our drummer who had the most recording experience. We just had him produce it.
Right.
So, like, we all kind of produced. It was like the songs that I wrote, but I was still just like, as far as recording, you handle it, how it should sound, and the tone, and all that stuff. Like, because we knew that would actually lead to less conflict if we just had one person just kind of just driving it all. So I'm always interested when bands are like, yeah, we all produced it. I'm like, God, the arguments that that would have happened.
Well, it's pretty good. It was a good learning curve. So everybody came out of these sessions in both bands listening and understanding. And in Order Disorder, Keith Fay, one of the guitarists, he's got a bunch of recording experience too. And from talking leading up into the sessions, it was really clear to both of us in the beginning that we thought a lot alike about how to produce music. Mm-hmm. So that made it really easy to Howie doesn't have a lot of experience in the studio, and he learned a lot, and so it was kind of fun, learning and seeing people look up and go, "Oh my God, all we did was EQ'd it a little bit."
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And just learning about the process and how you do this. And so so far, there hasn't been a whole lot of arguments. A lot of times I think maybe we're all experienced enough with a couple inexperienced people that were like, you know what? That is not going to make or break the record. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to argue with you over that. Go ahead and put it in. Go ahead and put it in there.
That's your input if you think it works.
It's not what I would do.
Right.
But go ahead and try it. And there were a couple effects that we tried that, Danny didn't like. I don't know. I don't like the idea of that. He doesn't like he does not like the megaphone sort of effect on the vocal. And we were trying to get that in the beginning of one of the songs to make it sound like she was talking out of the TV.
Yeah, sure.
And then we had trouble getting it, and I know how to get it, but I had trouble getting Ian and everybody else to buy into, like, you don't look. This is not an effect kind of thing. Like, you don't have to. You call up all those effects.
Yeah.
But I can show you how they get that effect. Just do this. But after a while, it was like, you know what? The reality is, this isn't worth spending the time and messing around with. We'll just do it straight with a little bit of that effect.
Right.
I didn't like the effect that actually made it to the final mix. It wasn't my preference.
Right.
But everybody else liked it, so
you're
it's like okay,
all right.
well,
majority
cool.
wins sometimes.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
It's once again, I don't think it was anything that was going to make or break the record. If it's something that I think, oh shit, you're going to turn people away on that. You're going to hear that note and that effect, and you think it's cool, and there's going to be 1/3 of the people think it's cool, but 2/3 of the people are going to turn the song off at then.
Yeah.
would we still be appeasing the 1/3 if we didn't have that in? Yes. Well, then let's not put it in.
Not put it in.
Just do it live,
right?
You know, or something.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah, we'll do it live.
What was that, Bill O'Reilly? Fuck it, we'll do it live. Oh yeah, Candy's also here too, which I'd like to have you on eventually soon.
We can swap spots. I'll sit in that place.
I was gonna say I don't have. Well, we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
I have a 1-year-old birthday party to get to. After.
Oh, nice, nice.
I got a little Pusheen. Have you guys seen Pusheen from Facebook? It's just a little cat on Facebook that you could send like emojis and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's really silly, and so I just thought it'd be really cute if I got that for a 1-year-old.
For a 1-year-old. Her parents will love it, or his parents will love it.
Yeah, her parents.
Her parents.
Yeah,
I called it right.
Called it right.
Stuffed animal, I should have known.
Yeah.
It doesn't have guns involved, so it's not for a boy, right?
Yeah, I would have gotten a stuffed M6 40. I don't know. I don't know names of guns.
Well, I have all daughters. I have 2 daughters, and then I have a granddaughter. I have a she's getting ready to turn 5, huh? 5-year-old granddaughter. So I'm getting to do all the. I love it.
You're there with all
because I get to do all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't have to put up with any of the bullshit.
No, exactly. That's what I hear about being a grandparent is the best job because you get all the fun. Yeah.
I look at her. I look at my daughter sometimes and just go, "I told you I was going to get you back." I just brought your kid back all jacked up on chocolate and Coca-Cola.
Oh, man.
Yeah, there you go. I told you I was going to get you.
All right, have fun.
We had a great time. You guys are going to be miserable.
That's great.
She already started getting cranky.
Yeah. No, that's fun. Yeah, it's so weird because I'm at that. I feel like I'm at that age now, or at least in this generation, because I'm like in my 30s, mid 30s, and now my friends are having kids. Where I guess back in the day it used to be like in the 20s, but yeah. So like I have. Like it seemed like everyone last year was just having babies,
right?
And then now they're all turning 1, and it's so weird. But anyways,
well, the parties get better as they get older because the kids start to run around and do crazy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Then like you get to stand there and like goad the kids on and get them to do weird stuff and watch the parents react. It's fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to throw a ball or something, or just kick a ball or play tag. I don't know. I'm a big kid anyway, so that'd be fun. Yeah. I think we all musicians are pretty much
so.
We still still go on stage, perform in front of strangers, or try to in front of strangers.
Right.
Yeah. Look what I can do, guys. Well, all right. Let's now go all the way back. I want to know where were you born? Where did you come from? All that sort of stuff.
Oh.
So where were you born?
I was born in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you grow up there?
No, we moved here when I was 4.
Oh, okay. So you little memory maybe?
I have
Pennsylvania?
I have a couple memories.
Okay.
That are vivid memories.
Oh, nice.
I remember a Halloween when I was 4, I guess 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Me and my brother getting walked around in our goofy little costumes, with the plastic mask.
Yeah.
I remember my older brother Jeff convincing me to eat ants off of the rose bush in the backyard at the house in Reading.
You said older brother?
Yeah, I have one older brother and I have
sense.
2 younger brothers.
Oh, okay.
And it was just he and I at this time.
Right.
I think Keith was maybe just born when we moved, my second. And I remember it was one of the long brownstone houses, so up and down duplex.
Oh, yeah.
Brick.
Oh, right.
And, they're just rows of them, and the driveway runs up the side.
Yeah.
And the driveway ran up the side in the long backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And the driveway ran all the way up to the end of the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would have alleyways in between the next one, so you could go right out into the alleyway.
Yeah.
And it snowed and it had been plowed, and it probably wasn't all that tall, but I remember it as being gigantic because I was little. Right. And we dug a thing in the side, and we made a snow fort in the side of the embankment.
That's great.
And I think we wanted to eat lunch out there, but my mom compromised with giving us an apple to eat. We had cut a little bit. I remember that, and I remember a couple like Howard Johnson Motor Hotels on the drive out.
Yeah.
So I have a few memories,
Yeah,
but I don't know Pennsylvania at all.
I was gonna say, have you ever been back? Or
I have been
checking?
back
Okay.
a couple times.
Yeah. Is that where they filmed The Exorcist? I might be confusing that. I think I remember taking a tour
It's
around
possible.
there, outside of Washington, D.C., because I did a D.C. tour, and then we went out to Pennsylvania, and I think I remember seeing the stairs, but I might be confusing that with some other travel.
Yeah, it could be.
thing,
I'm
but
not sure.
Okay.
I don't know a lot of the
No.
history. So I've been back. We went back. I think I was 8 when we went back for
Okay.
Christmas one year.
Yeah. Oh, so you have family out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I was in the Navy, I was in New Jersey for 5 weeks at a special training.
Mm-hmm.
So we drove around Pennsylvania a lot. It's right over the state
right
line.
there,
And I went out then to see a couple relatives. I had some aunts and uncles that were still alive.
Yeah.
Back when.
So where'd you move to Los Angeles?
We
Or
moved to
what
El
part of
Monte,
LA?
the first place we.
Oh, Monte. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I went to. I remember Ann Ligor School for elementary school.
Oh, right, that's
for,
where you went, yeah.
Kindergarten.
You started.
That's
yeah,
where I
started
went there.
your
Then
school.
we bought the house in Covina, and I grew up in Covina. We
Oh,
bought
no
the
shit.
house in Covina, and they sold that when I was in the military already, and they moved out to Apple Valley then.
Oh, yeah.
So
I know Apple Valley.
most of my family, half of my family lives out in Apple Valley still. My older
Okay.
brother's now back down in the Covina area, and I ran as far as I could at 17. It's like, I don't like this. I'm
Yeah, I was gonna say.
it's
So you
not my
joined
thing.
joined the Navy, huh?
Yeah, I was in the Navy for
Wow.
4 years.
Wow, how was that like?
I would personally,
Yeah.
I believe that, and having gone through what I went through, I believe that I would have no problem backing. You graduate high school, you go to the military
yeah.
for 2 years, you come out of the military, you have your college set up for you,
Right.
you have everything to go.
Yeah.
I
No, it's a good
believe
way
that
to
that's
go.
a good path. Hey, this is what we'll trade you. You come in, we're going to pay you like shit while you're here, but we'll take care of you.
Yeah.
And
Feed
the longer
yeah.
you're here, the more college you're going to get when you get out. We're going to give it to you.
Oh, okay.
I was GI Bill.
What is that?
Well, GI Bill is the old school, so it wasn't
Okay.
like saving up money and allotting money. It was just basically
just straight
you
into-
got
oh, wow.
you got education.
Was
You
it
used
about
your
like
GI
how
Bill.
much time you put in? You get
You got more
as
you got more benefits, but basically when you got GI Bill, you had your GI Bill. You did your hitch and got
gotcha.
out with a honorable discharge.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to school.
Oh shit.
So I'm a believer in that. So
Yeah.
I had a great time. I did some crazy shit. I mean,
Yeah,
I did electronic deception. So
Oh.
so in the basics, without going into tons of details
Sure.
about stuff, which in all honesty, most of what I did, I can't tell you anyway.
No,
even
yeah.
though it's probably totally declassified.
Yeah,
by now.
yeah.
It's just a code that you
No,
kind of
no problem,
You like
no
go,
problem.
no, you know what? I promised I wouldn't say anything
Yeah.
about that, so I won't say.
I
anything
respect
about
it.
that.
Yeah.
But I did. So basically, the basic idea in a large scale is you put these big vans. They look like the shipping containers almost, and they're packed with these equipment. There's antennas on the top, and they're all set to simulate other. So every radar, every prop, because we did sonar stuff too, has a fingerprint. There's something a little bit different about it.
Yeah.
And if you analyze it enough, you go, oh, look, here, it dips out at this frequency or whatever. So if you put all the intel and the information together, you can fingerprint a boat, and you can look at, without seeing the boat, you can look at the electronic signature and go, oh, that is, and you look it up in the book, that's the Finnish cruiser, such and such. Right?
Wow.
So we would put them on big like cargo ships or so, and then they'd have 4 or 5 old destroyers out with skeleton crews with us, and we'd pull up next to a aircraft carrier group, battle group, and a lot of times I got choppered on, and we would record flight deck comms, we would record any things, we would tune our equipment to exactly match theirs and all the details. We'd spend a good entire day just going through the radars and just going, okay, do we look exactly like them?
Yeah.
Then at a certain point in time, they turn everything off, and these guys we turn everything on and start simulating that battle group. Flight deck comms, handles,
Jeez.
the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
So satellite, anyone who's electronically tracking you is now tracking us, and the carrier group, the task force, is going off somewhere else that they don't know.
Dang.
So it's a way of hiding your forces.
Yeah.
And that got applied to different levels. That applies on smaller tactical levels to, special ops teams use it to hide themselves when they go in. And,
I see.
mean, the concept is a big concept.
Gotcha.
And you can do a whole lot with simulating.
Right.
If you could pull a boat into,
What
El Salvadorian waters
Yeah.
and have it look like an El Salvadorian fishing boat, you have a better chance of getting a strike team ashore.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
Or something like that. So
Yeah.
there's all sorts of applications for this.
Interesting. Damn.
From that, we started. I actually invented a couple of things in there and 2 different processes. So I actually hold patents from the Navy.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because I was
just
a
like, hey, we
tinkerer.
should do
and,
that.
you know what? We can do this.
Or
We can-
change this. Yeah.
we can
wow.
if we use this and do this, we can put this together, and here's a process where you can simulate this and do this.
Oh, that's cool that they don't take it for themselves because
Well,
you're part of the.
they took it for themselves, but
you
my
get to
name's
take-
on the patent.
Your
I mean,
name's
I
on
get
the patent.
credit.
Yeah, you
I
do get credit
for it.
I see.
I don't get any money
Right.
from it.
but you get the credit.
Same
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was gonna say.
Working at other jobs too, I have a couple other patents for. Most
Wow.
of it's tooling. Hey,
Yeah.
we need something
So you're
that's
always
going to
a
wind
tinkerer.
this coil right.
Yeah.
All right, here I'll make the fixture. I'll design the fixture up. Make this. Boom,
Yeah.
boom. The process to wind this coil so it's the right amount of coil.
Right.
The exact right amount of electromagnetic and
Well, I know you
magnetic
play
energy or something.
guitar. Were you always a tinkerer with your guitar, taking it apart and stuff like that?
Yeah,
or-
I've actually built guitars.
yeah, I was gonna say,
I went
you
through
must
a
have.
phase where I built guitars, and I have this. I am actually gonna bring it in and have Eric mess with it and set it up. I have this old Rickenbacker, and it's one of their first attempts at a solid body, the 260 JG. I think
I don't know that.
I think
one, but
Don
know.
Felder played it. I think Susanna Hoffs of the Bangles played it. Also, I think Walk Like an Egyptian. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's almost like a morphing of a Gibson and a Fender.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Right.
I remember that.
And
that one.
it's a mahogany. It's solid mahogany. It's heavy. It's really warm and middy like a Les Paul is.
Yeah.
Because of the
I'll look it up as
the
you.
wood.
Uh-huh.
And but I hated the electronics in it. They used circuit boards.
Yeah.
And so everything was circuit board, and then they take the connection, the cable connection receptacle, and it's just got a 90-degree angle, and it solders onto the board. So they're kind of using solder as a mechanical connection, and that ground would pull up all the time.
Oh,
So
so
I
you
said, fuck this. So I put, I tore all of the electronics out. I put a Fred and a Fred 2, which are Joe Satriani designed pickups. I put them in there, and then I wired it up in a way so that I have so one switch is front, both, back. Just the humbuckers. Then one switch is front pickup, single coil front, humbucker, single coil rear, and I did that for the rear pickup too. So you can get all kinds of crazy cool sounds out of it just by flipping your pickups around and rearranging.
That sounds awesome.
I've got the front single coil on this one with the rear single coil on this one, and it phases in this weird way, and it creates this tone.
That's fun.
So
it makes it unique, or you could do different things. Yeah.
So I still have that guitar, and I built a couple guitars and then sold them off and just.
Well, where did the love for music start? I'm sure
I'm not sure where the love started,
or
I think
maybe
it was in the whole time, but where my music started then. Yeah. My older brother, when I was 8, my older brother had they had gotten him a guitar. He was 10.
Oh, nice.
None of my other brothers' music stuck with them. None of them. And we were talking, and I was like, well, what instrument should I get then so that we could play together? Like, I was like, guitar and piano goes well together, you know?
Yeah.
That's cool. So we were walking through Sears near Christmas
Mm-hmm.
in 1968.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Candy likes an old guy.
Yeah. I know your face. I was like, I'm there with you. But
So
before Woodstock.
we're walking through Sears,
Yeah,
and they used
yeah.
to have big sections with musical
Right.
instruments. They
Yeah,
had
that's where
guitars,
Jack White got
silver
his
tone.
guitar. Yeah, it's
the
Sears.
little amps
And the amps, yeah.
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 And they had these organs set up, and I just looked at it, and I didn't know what an organ was really. I thought piano.
Mm-hmm.
Now the funny thing is, I was in first grade at the time, third grade at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when you picked up like a free. At our school, there was like a free period, so
Mm-hmm.
every Friday at 1 or something, you either went and did music, art, or reading free
Right,
time
yeah,
or
right,
something.
right,
You know,
right.
right? It was
Yeah.
like a
we
little
had
special
something.
thing.
We had our 7th period where you could like, do like journalism. This was later on, but
journalism,
journalism.
yeah.
One of those, something.
So it was stuff like that. So I went
Extracurricular.
into the music. I took it, and they taught you how to play the tonette, they called it, which is basically a recorder.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
And they taught you by your fingering, and then, okay, Mary Had a Little Lamb is 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 3.
Right.
I didn't know what notes they were. I knew the number.
Yeah.
So on this
Kinda like
organ,
tabs.
they had it set up, and there's this tab that came over, cardboard tab, and it set down, and it called out all the notes, and then it gave the 2-hand fingering position. So put your hands here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
Right there. Then you go 3, 2, 1. So the book had the number at the note. So I walked up to this thing and went, oh, do 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 do, and everybody went, genius!
And you're like, yes.
And I'm like, oh, I
genius.
Just,
That's true.
just know the numbers, man. So I started taking organ lessons.
Awesome.
And I actually
So
took
that's
organ
where it
lessons
started.
for 9 years till I was 17 is when I stopped.
Wow.
By the time I was 10 and 12, I
Mm-hmm.
was playing. There used to be an actual organ community. You could go and see an organist concert.
Nice.
And they'd have guests come up and they'd play,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like, they'd have 3 different big theater organs up there and spinny stuff and lights. And they would. And they would play and they got the rhythm thing going. And
Yeah.
it was actually, there was a bunch of people in suits,
Organ
moms
scene.
and dads in
Yeah.
suits. And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is not. And playing, pop songs and
Yeah.
stuff. And, it was a cheap way for entertainment. And, we'd sell out the Palace and the Palladium.
Oh,
and,
that's awesome. Wow.
and I started to get asked to
Was you with
play on those
two other
things.
dudes, or
Well,
you, or
it
just
would be
you?
like famous guys. George Wright
Uh-huh.
is one. I mean, I actually, somewhere in my collection up in Apple Valley, I actually have George Wright records. So I mean, this is a guy they recorded even,
Right.
and people bought the records, the Christmas Tunes record and
Right.
stuff.
Right.
So I would shared the stage with him a couple times, and then
Wow.
and my organ teacher knew all these people. She was heavily into the community, so she knew, like, well, my friend is the organist at Candlestick Park. Can I take Roger up to Candlestick Park with me, and we're going to play the big organ at a baseball game?
Yeah.
And he's
yeah.
going to play the Star Spangled Banner. Learn the
That's
Star
great.
Spangled Banner, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, and she had me. It got to the point where it was heavy duty shit. Towards the end of lessons, it was more about, okay, learn this piece. Here's a Brahms piece. Learn it. Okay. Give you a month to learn the piece and be able to perfect it. Then, okay, what I want you to do now is I want you to change it into F sharp minor. So I would have to rewrite all the tab into F sharp minor. Oh, that's really good. Okay, now I want you to learn it like that. Now I want you to write a 10-bar introduction to it.
Oh, jeez.
So it was a
Yeah,
lot of stuff
yeah.
like that, just like, but that's where I got all the basics of,
Yeah.
this is how music goes together. This is how you do
Right,
this.
right,
This is
right.
how you do that. I don't remember. I tried just sitting and playing piano on a jazz tune for someone's wedding they were going to do. And Just give me the sheet music. I'll be fine. And
Yeah.
I couldn't do what I used to be able to do. I was like,
yeah.
wait, that's it. And I found myself going through the sheet music, writing E, B, G. That's a G chord.
Yeah.
That's a this.
Yeah.
And after a while, you kind of start, but I haven't used that skill.
Right.
But
it's like a
the
language.
basics
It is a language, yeah.
Yeah, the basics of the music is there, though. And that's where I kind of freak people out sometimes being a drummer. I freaked guitarists out.
You were telling me that once. We had a conversation where, you were musically inclined. Yeah, as a drummer, you say...
Dan freaked out a couple times.
Right.
Like,
I think you told
hey,
me...
dude, what are you playing right after you hit the D minor in the chorus? Is that an F or a C? Like, what? Why do you need to know that?
Right.
Why do you know that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm watching you, and I want to follow, and I want to hear it. So because when I hear the C, I want to know. All right,
okay,
I got to make the transition now. This is how it's going. So it freaks people out sometimes. Like, how does a drummer know that? Well, drums. I never took any drum lessons. I just started playing drums at like 15. We went to a friend's wedding, and it was her second marriage, and I was about 12, I think. And she had a son who was about 16. And the reception at the house, down in the basement at about 8 o'clock or so, he went down and was like, hey, kids, come. And we all went down there, and he was messing around with the drums. And he, like, put, I remember it was Bad Fingers No Matter What. And he was drumming to it, and I just sat there and watched him and just went, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. But I taught myself guitar and I taught myself drums, and whatever I wanted to play, I would just, all right, let me figure out how to play this. I know someone else who can do that really well. And so I learned a little bit about a bunch of stuff.
Right.
But I learned enough, and I have enough musical
right
training and just natural.
So you're 12 or 15 when you started doing drums?
Oh, well, I was 15 when I actually started. So the funny thing is, from the time I was 8, the organs back then, and I think they still do now, they have the rhythm units, and they were really discreet, and like it was, 8 buttons or 8 tabs for rhythms and different things you could do. Oh, I want a cha-cha, or I want a this,
right.
Or you could assign it to the bass in the lower keyboard, and it kind of, if you kept the rhythm with that, you had a basic, samba going on or something.
Right.
But they had these little white round buttons, and they were to preview the sounds. So you could that's the kick drum, that's the snare, there's the 2 tom-toms, here's the shaker, here's whatever it was. Yeah. And when my parents would go away, we lived right behind a park that has a big baseball field, and they would go down at nights during the summer, and they would keep score. It was cheap entertainment for them. Yeah. They had fun for 3 hours or so, and it didn't cost them anything. Yeah. And I would turn the organ on, and I would sit there with those buttons and play rhythms with the buttons.
Oh yeah.
And so way back
before you had
it's the most natural thing. It comes to me most naturally is drums.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It was just at 15 I finally got the opportunity, and
gotcha.
You start getting into bands, and I think it was actually Pop Ensemble in high school needed a drummer. I was like,
oh, nice.
Well, I got a job and I got a little money. I'll buy a drum kit and do it.
There you go.
Are you cool with that? And he was like, yeah, if you'll come in. And yeah. So I just started to drum into pop songs with the chorus, and then got in bands and started.
Yeah.
And then right about that time too, I fell in love with the guitar, so I taught myself guitar and started writing songs and everything then. So it's all
a renaissance
happened.
Man
when I got out of the Navy, I advertised and joined this band. When I joined the band, the name was Radical Molesters.
It's a great name. I love that name, actually.
and I was like, I don't know if I could do the whole molester thing in the band name. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
So we ended up. It's not much better.
I love stupid names, by the way. Privileged. Yeah. I always wanted to be in a band called the Gay Faggots. I just think that's a really fun name. Yeah. Anyways.
And so we ended up as the USSR is what we went with.
Oh.
Yeah, which was
Yeah.
caused its own controversy.
I was gonna say, yeah, sure.
But I just got out and I was a front man. I was singing
Oh, really?
and playing keyboards and playing guitar.
Oh, nice.
I would just
Yeah,
add in
switch,
like
yeah.
one third, and then singing the whole time.
Nice.
And that drummer just decided he didn't have time for it. You know, he started going to work, got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know, it started to become normal. The whole rock star things waned for
Right.
You know, let me see, pussy or music.
Yeah.
I'm taking pussy. So the guy who was playing guitar actually, I think he's a better drummer than he is guitarist. And he had a friend. And they're like, well, let's just bring Jim in to play guitar. And so we just rotated it around,
Right.
and Jim started playing guitar. And Jim and I hit it off. Jim and I recorded music and played, I don't know, probably for 18 or 20 years.
Oh,
I mean, I
wow.
still know him. I still see him. I still jam
But
with
that's
him
great.
from time
yeah,
to
you're
time.
just like, oh, you should bring
But
your friend, and all of a sudden
we kept as a team kind of for
That's
a lot of
awesome.
years. We worked
Yeah.
together.
Wow. What is he doing now?
He's down in San Diego.
Okay. Living
just
his
kind
life.
of living
Yeah,
his
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But at a certain point in time, then the bassist and the now drummer Cliff, they were friends that had grown up together. You know, these were all San Diego guys. I stayed in San Diego for like 4 or 5 years before I moved back up here.
Oh, so this was after the Navy.
This was right after the
Okay.
Navy, so it was like three.
Real quick, did you play music at all, like in the Navy? Were there any opportunities?
No,
or?
well, when I went into boot camp, there was you could join the certain companies and they had that's how they filled out the band. So you could be in the band or you could be a flag. And so I was like, I just said I'm a drummer.
Or a drummer.
I'm thinking,
oh,
okay, as far as band stuff, all right, I can do the drums.
Yeah.
I'm a drummer. So, but
That's cool.
somehow I got chosen for brigade staff, which is the guys that are all out front with the swords and stuff.
Damn.
So
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
I didn't have in the Navy no
Gotcha.
real, but we would, I was just telling Candy this recently. We would because of all our recording equipment with what we did, I had access to all this shit. So I would come in on the weekends or like when I was on duty or whatever too. And I would set up these 4-track machines through a board of EQ and everything, and then I would record my stuff. I had a little rhythm box, and I would record my stuff, and I just took all the highs out of the guitar, and there's my bass.
Yeah.
And it was crude. It was crude.
Sure.
But 4-track, 1/8" reel to reel.
Yeah.
And then I would fly it down to a cassette or something.
Dang.
So I was recording shit way back then
Right,
on the
yeah,
Navy's
yeah.
dime.
Oh, that's.
Just like, hey, I'm in here, and you know,
Right.
I was part of the command. I had the badge. They didn't care
Right.
that I was there on
But
the
you're
weekend.
But that was the start of the sort of the recording.
That was I really got into recording then, and
Yeah.
that parlayed into a whole lot of stuff.
Gotcha.
Later on, because I ended up basically Larry Getz became my mentor, which he's a big time. He engineered a lot of the stuff that War did, and a lot of the country stuff out of the 70s and early 80s. And he was a part owner of Paramount Recording Studios at the time when I met him. And then he broke off. He sold his portion, and I just followed him around as his second, really, just like learning from him. And we worked at all these different studios, and he built studios. His specialty was actually control rooms. So I got the opportunity to build a bunch of really cool, couple famous people.
Yeah.
Their studios that you now would reference and
Right,
go, they
right.
recorded it at,
Yeah.
that's his home studio.
Oh,
that
damn.
we
That
we built.
Oh, wow.
So there's a couple of those
That's
out there
rad.
that I dig, and I did a lot of. I had a certain drum sound in the 80s that I could get a technique of tuning and recording. So I got hired a lot to get that sound for a lot of
Nice.
metal projects.
Oh, so it's like
it's
so
that big boomy, that
Yeah.
That big,
cool.
that metal. That,
that metal drums. Okay.
I had a way of doing that and getting that
Did
sound.
you hate all the sort of synth drums that came out?
Oh, I hated them all. I hated them all.
You
I
must
still,
have.
I still do. I'm still not the easiest to get to even samples nowadays because even as pure as there are, there's still me as a drummer. I'm like, no, that resonator should still be going. It should be bleeding into the other note. It shouldn't be dying out with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can push it with reverb and stuff, but to me, I hear the difference. But they're so close nowadays, most people don't. And I get that, and it's easier to do. I actually have learned how to program drums really well now. But I did a lot of work for a lot of people through the 80s. I was rather successful at it,
That's
even though I don't remember a lot of it, and and I know I made a lot of money, and I don't have any of that money anymore.
Right, yeah. So like it went somewhere.
Yeah, it did not go good places.
Right, yeah, I can imagine.
But I had a lot of fun, they tell me.
Right, yeah. Right, they're just like pictures of you, and you're just like, yeah, I guess I was there.
When you come out of a blackout in Vegas with three strippers in your room, going, I think I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
It looks like it was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun, right?
It was fun, right? You ever watch Mad Men?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, there's one episode where John Hamm goes on a bender, and he meets this brunette woman, goes to bed with her, and then wakes up in the morning with a blonde, and he's just like, oh shit, it's like Sunday now, and he started on like Thursday night,
right? Yeah,
and he just like finally comes to, and just like, holy shit. Well, yeah, sounds like fun.
So that was and there was a lot of ghosting for people. That was something they did, especially in the big studio days, where a record company would throw a lot of money. They ghosted. He talks about it all the time. Ace Frehley talks about it all the time. Ace Frehley got ghosted a bunch.
Oh, really?
Well, they would just bring in somebody and record it. He would record a solo, and then he'd listen to the solo that he heard on the record and go, "That's not me.
That's not my solo." Yeah.
And they're going, "That's okay. That's fine. You're getting paid for it to be you. Shut up."
Oh shit.
So basically, they would bring in musicians.
Yes.
Drummers have a tendency to go crazy and disappear and do all sorts of things. And record execs are very, they want to. I got my schedule. I got my shit. I got my this. All right, bring in the ghost.
Damn.
Let him play. Throw a lot of money at him to
yeah.
shut up and be quiet, and go on and do your shit. So
that happens
I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with that through the 80s. I did that a lot and made a lot of money.
Really?
Tours filling in for people on big acts. Just, and they're like, why didn't you push and get percentages of that or something? And to me, it was a lot of money. And I had Pet Piranha at the time, which is what USSR and Jim and I morphed into. I'll get back to that.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do, so it's like, I don't care about this, I don't care. I can make a whole bunch of money up front.
Right.
I'll take the upfront money.
Yeah.
You guys go sell your stuff.
Right.
I don't care.
And
I'll
you're
take
still
the
doing
upfront.
Pet Piranha.
Yeah, and I got my other thing, and that's where I'm going to be a rock star.
Right, yeah.
Which never happened out of that band, but came close, but it never happened.
Yeah.
But it was all fun. So what had happened is the bassist and the guitarist, the bassist and the drummer get into a big personal fight. And so the consensus is Cliff, the drummer, is the one we can afford to lose. So we boot him. We had a couple drummers come in, and then we realized, oh shit, this is harder than we thought. I said, well, I bet it's easier to find a singer than it is to find a drummer. I'm going to play drums. Let's look for a singer.
Get a singer, yeah.
And that's what happened. That's how I became a drummer in a band, and that led to me doing all the other drum stuff later on, because I just picked everything up like crazy and went, why haven't I been doing this? This is easy and fun, and So, but I still play guitar a lot, and
I mostly know you as a drummer, and then I saw you as, was it The Reaper? What was your name?
Tim Reaper.
Tim Reaper. Yeah.
That's my Death on the Radio name.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, well, they all have like Danny Death. See, back in the
Yeah.
day, it was Danny Death, Bloody Mary, Evil Powers, and then Roger. And I was just like, I just can't.
Well, that's
I
kind
don't
of
know.
works.
I can't
it's
get
kinda
into the whole thing.
What was the blonde girl in the Addams Family or the Munsters, the cousin?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Or Marilyn.
Marilyn, yeah,
Yeah.
It's just like Marilyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
just Roger.
When Maxine joined the band, then we were like, okay, are we going to revive the names
Right.
kind of thing? Because well, I won't tell you her last name, but only because I don't know if she wants me to.
Wait, so Murder is not her last name?
No, it's not her last name.
What?
But it's not a name
kidding.
that flows off the tongue.
No, sure.
Right? So she was just going by Maxie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's when I was like, well, why don't you add a name like, Maxine Murder?
Yeah. Yeah, and then
then they got to Death on the Radio. So they revived the name. So we got Maxine. So now again, I'm Roger.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I got to come up with something. And I messed and couldn't come up with anything.
Yeah.
Because nothing good with R. It just doesn't, Danny Death. And then Evil
Right.
Powers, his last name's
flows
Powers.
off.
That flows.
Yeah.
Evil Powers. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Maxine Murder.
Right.
Roger, just nothing flows with it.
What? Yeah, nothing flows with that. Well,
Not death oriented
Right.
anyway, not badass. I could go Rabbit, but that doesn't
Yeah.
fit very
Right.
well. Unless you're a
Roger.
Monty Python fan.
Yeah.
But and I was sitting there drawing Monty Python into it. I was sitting there one day and I came Roger Reaper. No, I don't know. It's weird, but
Yeah.
I could deal with the Reaper thing, but how would you do that? Grim Reaper, what? And a light bulb went on, and I heard the soundtrack from Monty Python. I heard John Cleese going, "There are some who call me Tim," and I went, "Tim
There you go.
Reaper, Grim Reaper's little brother, Tim Reaper." Okay,
There
I'm
you
going
go.
with it, Tim Reaper.
Tim Reaper.
There I am,
Great.
and that's what I am.
Yeah.
So that's how that came about. So I was
Perfect.
just using that.
God, that's way cooler than mine because I have a similar thing because we're Twisted Black Soul. We have the whole death thing too. So I just like Blake Lively's name. I thought, what's the opposite of
Right.
Blake Lively?
Yeah,
Blake Dedlie.
Oh, well, it's great though. I love it,
and it's
man.
like such a good name.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
But I just think it's just the dumbest origin.
You were talking about Then See Me with Guitar. We were just talking earlier. I figured something out, and I told it to Kenny. We were at a show that she did on Friday, and I was talking to the guitarist there, and she was saying, "Oh, my dad and I think he's a great guitarist,"
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, "Dude," because this guy's a great guitarist, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, "Dude, here's the deal. I know all of the tricks and moves from 80s metal, and I know how to construct a song.
Mm-hmm.
So I can put together stuff and do these weird little blues drops and different things and stuff. And in a way that you hear me play it and you go, wow, that's great. If you told me to play a D minor seventh, I'd have to stop and figure out how to finger the chord. I don't. He's like, oh, okay. So that's my guitar level.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to really the roots of being an organist and just knowing having a natural ability to construct a song in a way that makes sense. And, I'm going to go over to here and do this.
Right.
And, you know what? I don't have to overcomplicate it. It sounds better if it's a little simpler. And, what to leave in, what to leave out kind of deal. Oh, fuck, I just quoted Bob Seger. Oh.
Is that what I didn't know he said that. Yeah. Wait, so I was gonna ask you. Do you write any of the music in Death on the Radio?
Yeah.
Or?
Well,
Okay, yeah,
the way Death on the Radio works. So almost all of the music for USSR, which became Pet Piranha, was the Scream for a while, which they did steal our name. There's a whole weird story to that.
Yeah.
That was all mostly my songs. So I wrote a lot of lyrics and a lot of chords, and then what there were a few songs I didn't have anything to do, but in the very least, I probably wrote or co-wrote the lyrics, you know. Because, again, I would listen to the guitarist flipping around, noodling with stuff, and I go, what's that? Is that yours? Yeah, that's mine. I've been playing with that. All right, put that together. Now change it. Can you go to a G here?
Gotcha.
Oh,
yeah.
dude, see?
Yeah.
Oh, look. Let me get on the drums. Wait.
Yeah.
You know, and then we'd build it. Okay.
Build
We'd build the music
tunes.
from there, and
Yeah.
then I'd write the lyrics to it. With Death on the Radio, it's I've got one that I'm working in trying to bring in that I basically wrote with a songwriting project of mine. It's a little bit harder, but what happens is we bring in ideas.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So we'll start, like Death on the Radio in particular, there's a lot of the songs started from a drum beat.
Oh, okay.
Or a bass, or me and Lee get set in a groove and going, I like that. Danny, play something. And he'd start to play, and then he'd start to noodle on. Oh, that works. This is really good. Are you recording this? You know? And then it would build from there. And we'd, okay, we need a middle eight for it. Just this song seems to need a middle eight, or, you know. So Death on the Radio in particular is a songwriting-wise, we call it a four-way split. It's really a four-way split. Yeah. We all write the songs together. We play off each other. The song gets built around. Lee changes the bass line. Oh, I like that. Danny, do something like this when he does. So we construct the song together, which is, you know, one of the things we're looking to do right now is recording, and we want to write a bunch more. We've been playing so many shows. Yeah. It's like, Maxine's burned out. Yeah. And, you know, she's got the two other projects.
Right.
And so, she's getting totally torn apart. And she's like, I just want to sit back down, do the studio stuff, and write some new songs. And then we'll start doing shows again next year. I need a break. And, you know, so it's kind of fun stuff, though, too. It's just, you know, okay, we're going to devote one rehearsal. We rehearse twice a week.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, both bands rehearse twice a week.
Oh, wow.
We share a lockout.
Oh, okay.
So it's really easy, you know, everything's there. It's just, you know, show up after work. Show up at 7 on Tuesday.
Right, no, exactly.
You know, play for a couple hours, walk away.
Yeah.
It's not hauling and planning and, you know, all of that stuff, putting up with amps crap.
No, I know. Yeah. I play in 4 bands right now, and it is chaos. There's one band, though, I think we should do twice a week, but it's just once. I can only afford once a week because of these damn 4. Well, shit, man. Whoa. So I was gonna go. All right. So where were you in the '90s then?
Where was I in the '90s?
Yeah.
That's funny. Before we go to the '90s, let me tell you then.
Sure.
The one thing about my military career that in this world I'm actually rather proud of is I was the first person ever prosecuted for urinalysis in the history of the United States military.
For what?
For urinalysis results.
Oh, whoa. I thought you said your analysis.
Urinalysis. Yes.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
First in history.
Yeah. They were just trying to, it was early 80s, and they were trying, just say no.
Yeah.
Just say no.
Right.
And they were pushing it, and that's when they started to say, okay, this is out of control. We're gonna start randomly checking. Damn. So I was actually court-martialed 4 times.
Jeez.
I was never convicted. I won 3 of them. One of them, we went down. I went to what's called captain's mass, non-judicial punishment. Got a fine and a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
And kicked out.
Wow.
Honorably.
Yeah.
Because there was all sorts of stuff. There was they were trying so hard to be the ones that broke this thing open.
Yeah.
They literally, there was a literal conspiracy. And
Jesus.
that was exposed, and that was, you know, my big card. But what came out of it was all of the rules that everybody has to follow over what is random, what is not, what are you allowed to test for, and what are you not allowed to test for, all goes back to my court-martials.
Damn.
That's where all that shit came from.
No
I set all those rules.
Yeah.
I set all those rules. No, you can't use the last number of the guy's Social Security. You can't, because he did. They said, how'd you pick him? Oh, I went like 369, something inane like that. Said inane in court.
Yeah.
And my lawyer keyed on that. He's like, okay, well,
you can't just do that.
Now I've heard that you can, and you have to be honest, you know. what's this man's social security? And he could recite my social security number. And they're like, that's not random.
Yeah.
If you know his social security number, you can't pick the numbers that get chosen.
They were also figuring
it has to be random. Okay.
Yeah. You were the test subject.
I wrote all those rules.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
It was like 3 times that went through, and what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do, and and it exposed this whole thing. It was crazy. It was a crazy year.
Yeah. Oh, that's all 1 year.
That was all in 1 year. Whole thing took place in about 7 or 8 months.
Yeah.
And in November, I was out.
Jeez.
But I signed up for 6 years. I got out with an honorable discharge 2 years earlier. I started. I went into the Navy to learn the skills to support my music habit. I did not want to be a starving musician.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to be a musician, but not a starving musician.
Right. It's good.
So
it's good.
That's what I did.
It's a good idea. Yeah. So then the 90s.
So in the 90s.
You're like, and then in the 90s I starved.
My fix for everything. No, actually, everything kind of came to a head with me in the music business. And so I guess I need to say this up front to understand it. You've never seen me drink.
No.
And that's because I'm an alcoholic.
Oh.
So I've been sober a little over 9 years now.
Great.
But I was nothing close to sober for several decades.
Sure.
And so mix that in with grunge music comes up, the dynamic of things change. The big drums are no longer what they want.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I was told many times, like, you totally had the skill to just switch over. I don't know why you didn't just change. But I'm drunk and I'm young and I'm stupid and I'm belligerent.
Sure.
And I still had money left in the bank.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
And then, I tried to do some different projects and blah, 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 and pissed all the rest of my money away. So I was just working and doing some projects, and I met a girl, and we bought a house together, and then we got married, and then we had a kid, and I really didn't do much in the music industry through most of the 90s. I was like drunk dad.
Yeah. Wow.
I was a good dad.
Yeah.
I was probably a crappy husband, because and not for abuse or
no, I hear what you're saying,
but I'm not present. I was not present. It was more important.
I know alcoholics.
Yeah, important to take care of the kid and be drunk. Those were the 2 things. Make sure the kid gets
your priorities
and get drunk.
Yeah.
Those were my things.
Yeah.
Everything else, whatever.
What got you? What if we can get a little personal? What got you out of that? Was it did you try AA or was it?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So what happened was, a little over 9 years ago. So we've already been separated. I did a stint in rehab a couple years before that. Actually got like a year and a half sober. I had been in AA. I've been in and out of AA for 20 years or something, right? 20 years to get 9.
Yeah.
So I spent 12 or 13 years just in and out, never really committing. Got that year and a half. I went into rehab to try to save a job.
Yeah.
And then ended up losing that job anyway, which was a blessing. I hated that job, and it was probably a big part of why I drank so much at that time. Then I had relapsed again and was just so. When I went into rehab, my wife was like, she hated me actually that whole summer. She hated me. She went crazy that summer, and that's a whole thing. And then we got back, I got back into the big bed, and and then started drinking again, and that, that goes away. And a little over 9 years ago, I was living out. We had converted the garage into a studio. I was literally living in the studio, and I was out in the driveway, when she came and said, "Look, I just made the appointment for the arbitrator." We're going to do it this way instead of involving lawyers. Are we cool?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And at that moment, I realized, oh, shit. Like, no matter what happens here, I'm going to, drink the rent money away and be out on the streets in a couple of years, aren't I? Fuck. Well, I know what to do. I know where to go. I think it's time.
Yeah.
And it was just a moment that just was, you know what, now, I had been trying for a long time, but obviously it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
I'm one of those kind of guys that I don't learn well through good shit. I learn well through painful shit. So sometimes I needed to get to that point to where, but I'm fortunate.
No, sometimes you need to fail. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like I needed to fail. I feel like it's a whole other story. But yeah, I need to fail in order to get the lesson sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just how it was.
Yeah.
You know, I needed to be, but I was smart enough or trained enough or had been around AA enough. The one smart thing I did is I never deserted AA. I never badmouthed it, and I never said it didn't work. I never did any of that shit because I saw that it did work.
Right.
If you did it right.
No, yeah. If you did the steps,
you got to be willing to do it right.
Yeah.
So that was the point where it's like, all right, I'm willing. I can't go on like this. I saw myself at the end, and I was smart enough to go, okay, that's one plateau I don't need to reach.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop right here. I'm only one step up.
Yeah.
I'm at the edge of the cliff, and my toes are hanging off. I'm going to back up and ask this guy for help.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and for the last, 9 years or so, 8.5 years or so, there were periods where I was total AA, and it really helped me. It helped me get my head straight and everything.
Yeah.
I'm more of the mindset now that I don't go to a lot of meetings and stuff anymore, and I don't get asked to be a sponsor, and I got a little bit too busy to do my panel, but I believe I look at it and I live it every day, which is what it says in the book anyway. So I still am doing AA every day on a daily basis. Every decision I make is following those principles that kept me sober.
Great.
I just don't like the fucking people very much. It's really catty. It's really cliquey.
Oh, that's
and after a while,
that happens. It's
after
human nature.
a while, it can get, and to me, it wasn't. You either got to do one thing. You either got to dive back into it like you're a newcomer,
right.
or most people walk away, and then most people at that point in time end up relapsing.
Yeah.
But I've walked away with a clear, conscious picture. Like I've never once in my head said, "I've got this."
Yeah.
Right. Because I don't have it.
Yeah.
I didn't drink yesterday.
Yeah.
And so far, I haven't drank today.
Yeah.
That's all I fucking got.
That's great, man.
I don't know anything else.
Well, let's transition.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, man. And it's good to hear that you've been sober for 9 years. Good for you. We have a little bit of time. Let's have you play us a song to close out, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, cool.
Got a guitar right here.
On the guitar.
Yeah. Why not? There you go. I'm gonna adjust this.
What song? Oh, she's making sure I don't pull a Raj. See, I do shit like that. Just a little something. I just did.
Thank you so much.
It looks like I know what I'm doing, right?
You know what you're doing.
You could probably solo too. I'm like, yeah. That's my solo. I can't do any of that stuff.
That's cool, man. I just do what Neil Young does, just play one note sometimes.
Well, yeah, there's no, so it doesn't sound
David Gilmour was great about that. You know, it's not with the notes you play; it's the notes you don't play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again.
Absolutely.
And,
Thanks for having me, man. It was a
one.
blast.
Thank you.